Whether Maurice was with Bhagavan, Mahatma Gandhi, or J. Krishnamurti, his method of first questioning, experimenting, and experiencing the truth at every level, and only then accepting and following it, remained the same. Such was his nature. This is exactly how he led the 75 villages that he was reforming. He loved the poor, uneducated villagers, and was so compassionate towards them that they felt purified in his presence. In fact, they addressed him as Swami. Maurice was successful in his venture in the villages, and very soon the whole of India became aware of the kind of life Maurice was leading. By this time, Bhagavan and Mahatma Gandhi had dropped their bodies. This was a great setback for Maurice, but he decided to rededicate himself to the cause they had taken up because he felt that he was still on the stage and had to play the outward game. Maurice went to Varanasi to stay in the Krishnamurti institution there. He implemented the reform programs in the surrounding villages. Krishnamurti's followers were also great admirers of Buddhism, since the teachings of the Buddha and Krishnamurti were similar in many aspects. Senior followers of Krishnamurti, like Archat Paswardhan, became very close to Maurice. This also happened to be during the Tibetan turmoil, when the communists in China were in the mood for seizing power. When Maurice heard about the tumult, he swung into action because at that time, Appa Pant had just become the governor of Sikkim. So without wasting time, he immediately went to Sikkim and met Appa Pant. He told Appa Pant with great gusto, "You are going to be of great use to me. We have an important mission to accomplish here because we have to save His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all the old Buddhist manuscripts and thousands of Tibetans." Characteristic of him, Maurice immediately took Appa Pant to Delhi to meet Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister of India. Maurice, the diligent worker, already had by this time the roadmap to successfully carry out the rescue plan. Both Maurice and Achat Patwardhan related to me how they had worked a plan for the escape of His Holiness. It was eventually the blueprint laid down by Maurice that Nehru followed in getting His Holiness out of Tibet. They fed the Chinese government with wrong information on the flight of His Holiness, and thus the Tibetan guru and his devotees were saved. The day His Holiness escaped to India, so did hundreds of fellow Tibetans. His Holiness came with many old Buddhist manuscripts, now preserved in the museum in Sarnath. Thus, thousands of priceless manuscripts were saved from the destructive hands of communist China. When the Dalai Lama entered India, Maurice planned it in such a manner that Patwardhan would meet the Dalai Lama and give him the details. Yet there is no mention of Maurice in any of the books related to either the Dalai Lama's escape or the smuggling in of Buddhist manuscripts from Tibet. I have never seen a person as self-effacing as Maurice. Similarly, there was no mention of Maurice's name in the Maharshi's Gospel originally. Only now is his name being mentioned. At the time of the Tibetan struggle, Jawaharlal Nehru very bluntly said, "My hands are tied." Maurice immediately traveled all over India, spending his own money in order to find refuge for hundreds of Tibetan refugees. Maurice sought cooler places for the refugees and established 5 settlements. If the Tibetans enjoy a peaceful existence in India today, it is because of the Polish mystic saint, whose name is not mentioned anywhere. Discovering the capability of this man in bringing a semblance of order even in the most chaotic situations, Nehru requested Maurice to take over the Khadi movement. It had initially been started by Gandhi, but was later in total disarray. This meant that Maurice had to go to Mumbai. Here he stayed with an old friend of his, Miss Pettit. By Bhagwan's grace, I had the opportunity to meet Maurice in Mumbai. I had earlier met him at the ashram in the 1960s during the rare visits that he made. Again, I met him when I went to Mumbai in the 1970s to collect funds for the advertisements for Ramana Ashram's journal, The Mountain Path. Maurice then told me, while your body is engaged in running the ashram, your heart should be totally settled in that pure awareness of truth. Never miss that, whatever you are doing. We used to have beautiful private conversations. Once Maurice confessed to me in all seriousness, the burning regret for us is that probably full advantage was not taken of those happy and precious days when Bhagavan was with us physically, eating, talking, laughing, and openly available to us all. Reality was there in abundance, in our midst, and for the taking, and anyone could take it. But we enclosed ourselves in our false humility, in procrastination, and false excuses. We took therefore a cupful when the ocean was at our feet. On yet another occasion, he prodded me on just to give me a push, saying, "See, Bhagavan is not the person, he is the teaching. As the teaching, he is fully available to you. In addition to whatever work you are doing, plunge within and taste awareness inwardly. That awareness is our Bhagavan." Maurice used to take me for long walks in Mumbai. He would tell me, "I will not provide you with a car. I will not even take you by bus. You have to walk wherever you go, along with me. Are you prepared?" With hands folded in a namaste, I would answer, "Would I hesitate to be in the proximity of the truth of reality?" Maurice was a spiritual giant, but physically he was about 5 feet tall. Surely no one would hesitate to walk next to him. On one of these walks, Maurice said, "Ganesan, today I'm going to take you to the place where I met a simple man selling bidis, hand-rolled cigarettes. As we were walking towards the place, Maurice narrated, I saw a group of people smoking bidis. They were relating their woes of life. This simple man answered them exactly in the manner of Bhagavan. Had Bhagavan spoken in Marathi, it would have been the same. I stopped in my tracks and listened intently. It was astounding to see an ordinary man selling bidis, talking so spontaneously. I started going to the place every day and noting down what he said. I would then go home and translate all the questions and answers into English. However, Maurice was ridden with guilt because he had not sought the permission of this person. He informed the man that what he had been doing and read out all his writings, translating them into Marathi. The man was delighted and told Maurice, "Go on recording, go ahead." These writings were later published as I Am That, a publication that shook the entire spiritual world. And this man, this street vendor, was none other than Nisargadatta Maharaj.